What is up, everyone? My name is Marissa. Welcome to these divination sessions. We're going to take a deep dive into what it is that you are currently unearthing within yourself. Because, in my most humble of opinions, it's not a journey of becoming that we are on so much as it is a journey of discovering who it is we came here to be. So we have 5 piles to choose from today. As always, never rush into a decision, whether seemingly big, seemingly small, it's all the same from the perspective of the formless. And whenever you're ready, we're just going to hop right into these divination sessions. Hey, pile number 1, I just want to say that around like 8 minutes in, my video stopped recording, and so I lost a little bit of footage. Like, I picked back up where I thought the video stopped, but after I recorded the rest of the tarot reading, I went back and saw that where I thought it stopped and where it actually stopped weren't the same. So overall, though, the message is very coherent. If you just skip past that little, I know you guys will connect the dots, and it's still going to be a very coherent message. So sorry about that. I'm trying to iron out what the hell is going on with my technology lately, but it has been a shit show, okay? But nevertheless, we're going to move on with your reading, pile number 1. What is up, my friends? If you guys chose pile number 1, this is your reading for what it is that you are currently unearthing within yourself. So we're going to start with these 3 divination cards, oracle cards is what came through for pile number 1, and then I'm going to save the tarot cards for later. But I haven't looked at any of them yet. We're going to do all of this real time together. So what is pile number 1 currently unearthing within themselves? So first, from Goddess Oracle deck, we have Changing Woman. Ooh, I love this already. And this applies, regardless if you're female or male, but, just being honest, there's probably more women tuning into this more than anything. We have Not For You. It's so funny because when I was doing this reading, or when I was preparing the piles last night, I was shuffling and I had a feeling that this one would come up. And we have Child of the Cosmos. The intelligence of the universe lies within you. So this is so beautiful. So first and foremost, what I see with both of these, there's an emphasis of the heart chakra being illuminated here. And with the Changing Woman and the Not For You, I feel like what you're unearthing is you are learning how to walk away from things. You are learning how to change with the times. You are learning that who you were and the realities that were attached to old versions of you, those are bound to change, right? You're bound to grow out of certain realities and bound to grow out of certain relationships, certain organizations, right? Relationships aren't just with people. Relationships can be a relationship to organizations, or even like, this might seem so just random, but where you go to grocery shop, right? Like, there's different codes and different things and different timelines that support certain versions of us, right? And it can get very subtle, and then it can also be very obvious to where we're stepping out of certain dynamics and certain roles, right? There was a time period where my guides were really adamant and just reminding me that, people, innocently so, unbeknownst to themselves and even unbeknownst to ourselves sometimes too, like when you're trying to grow, when you're trying to break through, or when you just not even trying to, but when you just are, a lot of the time, naturally, we will be guided to spend time apart from people who have known us our entire lives. Why is that? Because energetically, they have an image and a certain perception of who you are based off of who you've been. So it's like they're trying to subconsciously, there's like a feedback loop trying to reinforce that old version of you. And so naturally, a lot of the time we're guided to spend less time with those people, and we have new relationships, or we just take periods where we're just kind of doing our own thing because it breaks that feedback loop of the outside world trying to, and again, this is a very just natural and innocent thing, but trying to reestablish and keep you in a certain framework based off of who you've been, right? And so I feel like naturally, pile number 1, you guys are going through a new cycle. Like, you're changing, you're upgrading on all levels, I'm hearing, but this is a lot about your heart and trusting your heart, really learning how to trust yourself even more. And so you're playing the game from a place to where you're not when you say no to people and when you're oh, that's not really for me, your guides are really walking you through a process where you can do so without closing down your heart, right? Because sometimes, or oftentimes, this has just been my experience, so I can only really speak from there. it's like there can almost be a guilt, and guilt is of the heart as well, right? There can almost be a guilt of being like, oh, I need to unfollow these people, or, because they're attached to certain timelines that just like don't jive with me anymore. Or, there can be a certain level of guilt of like, oh, this person has been in my life all of these years. Like, right? It doesn't always have to be a permanent thing. Right. And so I feel like your guides are wanting you to, what's going on with us unearthing is you are learning how to remove the sense of like finality to anything, or like indefiniteness to anything. So like, you don't know who's coming, who's going, when they're coming, when they're going, if there's going to be a break, or if it's like a lifelong, just like, not anymore in this lifetime. Right. And so you're just learning how to honor the cycles, my pile number one. And it's really clear that you're upgrading, right? We have child of the cosmos. The intelligence of the universe lies within you. So you are being prepared for a lot of new things. You are being prepared, like spirit is trying to make space in your current reality and your current paradigm to welcome in a lot more joy. And when I say joy, it's not even an ungrounded state. Like the Western mind, when Western minds take hold of things like enlightenment, it can seem like this far out type of like exuberance. And the more that you walk your path, the more you realize that that excitement to your body physiologically is interpreted as anxiety, right? So it's like when I speak of bliss and when I speak of joy, it's a very subtle thing that permeates everything, even just when you're doing the mundane of mundane things. And you guys are getting ready, you guys are stepping into, a lot of you guys are already experiencing this new level of just like being content and being okay with like not making it mean any more or less than what it is, of just like, no, it just doesn't jive anymore. Right. And so this is what you're unearthing. So everyone's that's drawn to this pile today is going to be at different levels within this, but you're learning that, it's just a game, right? I love that this not for you shows a chess game, because that's what it is. This is a game of life. That's all it is, right? This is simply a game. And the more guilty we feel is probably because we're getting lost in the game and we're mistaking it for the truth of things, right? But the more we remember it's a game and there's no hard feelings, doesn't mean that, again, when we close our heart, we're likely to engage in things and practices and just behaviors, I should say, not necessarily practices, but behaviors that could potentially cause suffering for someone else. But when we're zoomed out and our heart stays open, right? When our heart stays open and we recognize the self and the other, we recognize that what you do for yourself out of love, you're giving other people permission to do the same too. And also you're helping usher in this new earth type of energy where, it doesn't have to be this big deal when we say no to something or an old version or whatever. It's no big deal. It's just like peace on your journey, because like it's going to get much more intricate, much more subtle. And for those beings that are drawn to my channel, you guys are on a very accelerated path. So you learn quickly. You're in and out of things very quickly, right? You just absorb what you need to. You learn what you need to. And a lot of you guys are not necessarily here more so for your own journey so much as you are here to help communicate that to your fellow brothers and sisters along their path of awakening, right? There's no like, it's an era of collective wisdom for sure. And part of that collective wisdom is understanding that we're sometimes going to play the part as a student and sometimes play the part as a teacher, right? And because this is the only number I'm seeing up here, this is the card of the teacher. Like 6 is the number of the teacher. 6 is the number of humanitarianism, right? And just being a visionary. So yeah, you guys are led by something much greater than yourself, and you guys are acknowledging that. And so it's becoming much more easier for you to move and flow with things. You're taking your cues more from your higher self and more from what feels right to your intuitive heart, and less making decisions again based off of guilt, based off shoulds, coulds, woulds, etc. So this is a powerful cycle you guys are entering into, where you're really reclaiming more of your power, more of your individuality, your uniqueness, and not, playing a game for the sake of anyone else. And what I mean, the angle I'm coming from when I say that is you're not playing the game to appease other people, perpetuating any type of illusion. You guys are on a path of freedom, right? True freedom, and truly just going where you're guided, which doesn't always make sense. And so, being okay with being like, I don't know why, but I just, for whatever reason, feel like I'm supposed to step away from this, or I'm supposed to go towards this. I don't know why, but, that's infinite intelligence, right? Hi, my friends. My camera died, and I panicked for a bit because I've been having some like electronic difficulties lately, and I was like, did I really just lose all of that? Because I had to redo 3 and 4 the time before. Yeah, the time before. So I'm so glad I still have this footage. So anyways, we were getting into the King of Swords. So for me, the King of Swords is the ultimate card of meditation, right? So we know in the air family, especially if you've been tuning into tarot for a while, or if you're just familiar with the elements, when the air element is not grounded, right? The thing about air is it's really perceptive. Air is very subtle, right? It's one of the more subtle elements that it's not as perceptive, or you can't perceive it as easily as you can like earth or fire or water, right? It's very perceptive. So it permeates through the veil a lot easier, right? But when it's ungrounded, it becomes fear. It becomes anxiety. When there's too much air, it's too much stimulation, right? And so again, we were talking about exciting timelines coming in, and just like how you make your decisions overall. I feel like what you are beginning to unearth is a much more grounded version of you. So you're perceptive, you're extremely perceptive, which the higher court air cards really do tell us. But there's like a maturity about you guys that you are unearthing in a very grounded sense of how you make decisions and being able to see the relativity of things, right? And also acting on that relativity in a practical way, again, when you're not getting lost in it. So I feel like you guys are most certainly you guys are just like boss status in this new cycle that you're stepping into, what you're beginning. And I feel like you guys are on the other end of karmic scales in terms of like getting lost in the bullshit of just humanity. And again, you can just like see, like you have compassion, right? But at the same time, it's like, you don't get lost in your own bullshit. So it's a lot easier for you not to get lost in the bullshit of what's going on a collective scale as well. So I really do see that you guys are becoming a much more solid foundation, even for other people, a much more solid sounding board. And there's definitely a peace that emanates from you guys that I'm truly feeling in this moment. So, oh my God, we have the Queen of Swords too. This is incredible. 2 different tarot decks, but we have the counterpart. So a really beautiful balance of feminine and masculine qualities. So I feel like this is like you guys going out and figuring out like doing like, for however this applies to you, I'm hearing that it's a beautiful balance of where you're letting intuitive insights come to you, but you're also balancing that with like a masculine sense of like, I'm going to go investigate this. I'm going to go do my research. I'm going to go figure out, in terms of not for you, this could be about making decisions, right? Making a big move, or just like how you are going to like, direct your company or direct your family, or in terms of like what global narratives are going on. This is a beautiful balance of, okay, I know what's true on a spiritual level. I know what is true for me in terms of morals, values, etc. And then also I'm getting the sense of being very engaged, like not detached from what's going on the level of what's happening in your community, etc. So there's this very just like powerful and very active component that I'm feeling from this group. So it's not like my pal number 1 is lost within the airy fairies. It's like you're really becoming an individual that people feel like they can turn to for wisdom and knowledge, and just like in terms of like where to go and even what's happening on this planet and what to do. Like you guys, through your peace and your emanation, you guys really bring people more in tune. Like there's a very beautiful balance between head and heart here. So between having compassion for the suffering on this planet and the suffering of the world, understanding where that suffering is born from, ignorance, right? And then wisdom, which understands that it's all relevant, it's all necessary, right? And there's certain catalysts that we need within our own journey of evolution and of awakening. And so we're seeing that on a global level too. So again, there's this very wise, grounded sense about you. Like you see beyond the surface, but it's not ungrounded. It's not like, okay, you have all these great insights, but like, how the fuck does that apply here? So I'm really seeing what you guys are unearthing is there's like a new level of like, this is high leadership. Yeah, this is high leadership, you guys. And I am seeing like global impact. So whatever it is that you guys do, you're teaching other people how to say no to things and why to say no to things and how to do so from a place of authority is because you know yourself. You know what the fuck you stand for. You know that it's all a game at the end of the day, but you do have a specific part to play. And so you're going to play it, right? So maybe you were a little bit more on the detached side before, more on the I'm not going to engage kind of thing before, but I am seeing a lot of like a beautiful balance between active and allowing spirit to be your guide, right? And also being very engaged with what is happening on this planet at this time. So this is very beautiful. This is very beautiful. I'm just getting the sense of just like, you guys are warriors. You guys are here for the people, like freedom fighters. Like it's this like determination that I'm definitely feeling for the people of this planet. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning into this reading. It is my deepest honor and blessing to be able to read for beings like yourself. So pal number 1, I'm going to leave this here for now. Please like, comment, subscribe if you've been here before, and I hope to see you soon. Hey, pal, two. Welcome to your guys' reading for what it is you are currently unearthing within yourself. So, we are going to dive into this reading. You guys actually had 4 oracles come up and then 3 tarot cards. I haven't looked at any of the cards yet. We're going to get into that real time. I'm going to save the tarot for towards the end for more details. But just to get an overall picture of what's unearthing within your guys' current paradigm, we're going to start with the oracles. So, you have change. What is pile number 2 unearthing within themselves? Fork in the road. Okay, that's a very clear message. You're either currently going through this or this is going to become a very obvious part in your guys' current reality. Why? Interesting. Okay. Very clear message already in Earth. Learning how to be human but not of it. Wait. Learning how to be human in the world but not of it. So, okay, pile number 2. This is already a very clear message. So you're either going through this change, you're in a fork in the road that is, I feel like, causing you to ask a lot of questions or might even be creating a lot of discomfort in your internal realms. And so you're learning how to, it's interesting, we have 13 and then 31, so it's almost like a mirror. So there's what is currently being unearthed or what you are currently unearthing, what you've unearthed up to this point in time. It's like you stepped into a new level of power, and so now your external reality has no choice but to reflect that, and or it's like this current change is going to be a catalyst into this new level of experiencing yourself, which how we experience ourselves in our inner worlds is going to color and influence everything else, right? So you guys are going through a big change, right? Whether this is internal or external, you guys are at a fork in the road in terms of how you're going to navigate your reality, in terms of decisions to make, in terms of it does seem like in this sense, you guys are having to choose sides, learning how to choose sides and to have opinions and how to engage in this world while still ultimately knowing that it's just a game and there's no big deal to it, right? You guys are definitely at a level, I'm getting goosebumps. You're definitely at a level within your awareness that you understand that this human incarnation is relevant and making decisions, and 222 on the clock, making decisions. Maybe something happened during that portal, man, because that portal was a fucking portal. It was the most portal of portals I've ever portaled through, in, or around, right? So I feel like this is causing a lot of questions within you. Or at the very least, this has just taken you deeper into this deep feeling. It's not even like it's not even a thought. It's like a deep understanding within the core of you that, you know, like we're here, right? Ram Dass would often say, like, there was this disembodied being. So, you know, in this day we would call it a guide, right? There's a guide that was coming through, this woman named Pat Rodegast, and he went through this phase in his awakening that I think we all go through, where we can get so lost in the ephemeral and so lost in the astrals that we forget that we took a human birth for a reason, that it's relevant. And so Ram Dass went to this, Emmanuel is his name, this guide for Pat Rodegast that brought through incredibly compassionate wisdom. And he said, Ram Dass, like, have you ever tried being a human? And Ram Dass giggled and was like, you know, that's funny. I never thought of that, you know? And so that's this, when you're operating through such expanded lenses, I feel like it can be easy to pop out or to forget that this experience is very relevant. So this change is catalyzing you guys deeper into that and deeper into this more balanced sense of operating within the world. And you guys are learning how to change, how to go along with the changes, and how to just do what makes the most sense, and to not ask too many questions. Or if there are questions to ask, if you do have to start asking questions, or you're just guided to ask more questions of, like, you know, what the fuck is going on the planet, and just like being a bit more grounded and being a bit more involved with like what's happening on the earth or whatever. It's like you are being guided to, it's like these readings have been so powerful lately, because I am seeing that there's a lot of beings drawn to my channel that are operating from extremely advanced lenses of perception. And now it seems like we all went through that phase together, because, you know, I'm just a reflection of you guys and where you guys are at. And so it seems like we all went through that phase together of like getting really lost in the astrals. Not really lost, like it's all plays its part. It's all perfect, right? And then now it's like what this planet needs are leaders that are not acting from this like elementary sense of, I'm angry, so now I'm gonna go blow up a fucking country or whatever, right? And just like being able to read between the lines and like establishing morals, establishing values, reestablishing that grandmother and grandfather wisdom in order. So when these things do come up, when we eventually have disagreements or conflict, we know we have set values that can at least create a framework to lean on. And so it seems like the beings that are really drawn to my channel are in that period where it's like you are being prepped to be literally a new earth leader. And so this is showing you, like with Oya, it really does seem like she is like she's a powerful leader. Change, right? There's like sudden change when catastrophe strikes. Who do people turn to that are fucking grounded and level-headed and rooted in something that recognizes and acknowledges the interconnectivity of everything, right? And where to go from there. So I feel like this is not just like what you're learning in your own life of like, how do I navigate these forks in the road and seem to choose sides and seem to have biases while not getting lost in it, while not forgetting that it's going to be over so soon. And, at the end of the day, the only thing we are all certain about is that this experience ends at some point, right? And so how do we do our best to make sure that everyone can enjoy whatever this is, however long we're here, with as much equality as possible? And I feel like that's definitely what you guys are, it's that delicate balance between spirit and humanity, divinity and humanity, right? And you actually get to know your divinity more by engaging it in the world of form, engaging with your humanity and not denying it. So I feel like that's what you're currently unearthing, is this new sense of like just like incredibly embodied wisdom, right? And not too like astrally and scattered and like trying to get away from this experience. It's like if you weren't meant to be here, you wouldn't be having it, right? And so this is very powerful. I feel like you guys will be helping other people, coaching other people through similar things in your own way. Like very powerful teachers is what I'm getting. So we're going to dive into your tarot cards here. We have the Star. So helping people to see beyond the surface of things and to remain hopeful, right? Just like healing this disconnect between like our divinity seeming like feeling so separate from God, right? And so like, why is this happening, right? Like how to soothe their own souls during the times where things just don't fucking make sense, and understanding, even though I don't know the why quite yet, I can trust, right? I can trust that it's relevant. If it's where I am, it's relevant for where I'm meant to be. And so I really deeply feel that however this is going to manifest, like whatever change, I feel like this, I'm seeing that there's going to be an internal, again with the 13 and 31, there's going to be a reflection. So whatever you're unearthing internally is going to have like, it's kind of like putting your money where your mouth is, or like, when you go to university, you learn these things in textbooks, but then where do you ingrain it? Where do you embody it? It's when you have an opportunity to practice it. So don't be fearful at all, because I'm seeing that you guys are taken care of. You guys are really strongly connected to your team behind the scenes and something greater than yourself. So I feel like you are going to master whatever this comes into your life, or this might be something you're going through right now, vice versa, it might be switched. So you're experiencing a fork in the road. There's a lot of questions coming up. There's a lot of change happening around you, and it's going to deepen your understanding of just like, again, the divinity within the humanity and the relevancy of all of it, and not getting lost in it, right? Honoring whatever part you have to play without getting lost in it. So next we have Ace of Swords. So yeah, there's a lot of clarity coming to you. There's a lot of like, even despite these uncomfortable things that might come up, it's like, there was a teacher once who said, confusion is the gateway to clarity. So when you feel the most confused and the most like, what the fuck is happening? It's like, I tend to think that you're either on the brink of psychosis or an awakening, which, depending on who you ask, is like the same thing, right? So there's a very grounded sense about you guys though. So it's going to be the latter is what I'm feeling, but there's a breakthrough. There's a moment of like an aha moment of just recognizing to a deeper degree of just like like the truth of who you are being unfazed and untouched, and just like really flowing in, just like going with the changes of things and not resisting it, right? Navigating this in a very graceful way. We also have the King of Wands, so not saying no, not backing down from a good challenge, right? And just like there's a sense of what you're unearthing is a sense of like, I can fucking do this. Like I'm unstoppable. I've got the winds of the universe itself behind my sails. Like the King of Wands is this energy that's very active. It's like, I'm going to go after this. I'm not going to sit back and let my fate just like take over. I'm going to like be in alignment. I'm going to step in alignment with my destiny, with what I'm here for. And so it's like this new level. There's a lot of purple I'm seeing. I keep being drawn to the purples here. So it's like a deeper connection, like the crown is opening to a much greater extent, and there's like not a question of what you're supposed to do. And you know, the boldness that is sometimes called upon us when we are connected with something greater than ourselves, right? I just saw 1010. This is powerful, you guys. So sometimes we think that being peaceful and being spiritual means being complacent, or at the very least, like not rocking the boat. It's like you're gonna rock the motherfucking boat when the boat needs to be rocked, right? You know, Oya, the thing about change, the thing about nature, what she teaches us is sometimes it needs to get a little bit chaotic, right? Or sometimes we need to roar. We need to show our fucking teeth. At the very least, show them and sometimes use them. And so it's like you're stepping beyond, you know, what you think is right or wrong or good or bad, and you're just moving. You're just making decisions and not really worrying about the why, but really tuning into, okay, this is just what deeply feels truthful to me. Learning how to operate on that level of like, what is source telling me? What am I receiving in this moment, right? And also, you know, the thing about, you know, the higher court cards is there's a sense of maturity about them, and there's a sense of like not just looking out for their own best interests. It's like taking into account how this is going to affect everyone. And again, like fork in the road, seeming to choose sides, but again, being in the world but not of it. You're not getting lost in it. You're not forgetting that at the end of the day, it just is what the fuck it is. And we don't have to make it more or less than what it is. We can just like really own our boldness and what we're here for. And you're going to teach a lot of people along the way. And I feel like with this Ace of Swords, you might be communicating this in some way. You guys, again, the Freedom Fighters the Freedom Fighters theme and chord is very active within these first two readings. So you guys are just like really change makers in general. And you're stepping into, you're unearthing an even more bold side of that change maker. So it's very electric, it's very active, and it's very like you don't care if people like don't get you. You're like, I'm not here to explain myself to people that are actually don't care to actually know. They're just, you know, they just want something to oppose, right? Versus like the people that are asking why and want to know because they actually just want to see how you're able to make decisions and how you navigate certain things. Like those are the people that you're here to teach and here to work with, right? So this is beautiful. Very guided, very protected at this time. Lots of changes internally and externally for my pile number 2. You have all that you need. You have all that you need. You're in it. You're not of it. And yeah, thank you for being here. If this video resonated, please give it a thumbs up, comment any synchronicities down below, subscribe if you've been here before, and I really hope to see you soon. Hey Pile 3, welcome to your reading for what it is that you are currently unearthing within yourself. So we have 4 oracles that came up for you guys today and 3 tarot. We're going to get into the tarot after the oracles. I haven't looked at anything. We're going to do it all real time together. So let's start with this Goddess Oracle card. This is one of my favorites. This is one of my favorites. My favorite card. So you have opening. Check it out. Pile number 3. This is what you're unearthing. Whether you like it or not. Just kidding. Okay, so opening. What is pile 3 unearthing? New life. Hell yeah. This is fun. Yeah. Damn, these... Who is tuning into this shit, okay? In the best way, like, I get to read for some incredibly powerful individuals. Cracked open. Wow. Opening, cracked open. So rock bottom, surrender to the alchemy of life. Man, y'all are unearthing incredible changes. Like, this is insane. The great severing... Mars energy, anger, conflict, softening to love. So we have opening, we have the great severing, we have cracked open, we have new life. Okay, so we can just stop the reading now. Just kidding. Well, kind of. This is powerful. I feel like it's very clear that you guys are opening literally what you're unearthing. You are literally unearthing a new level of yourself that you have not experienced before. A new degree of power, a new degree of self-sovereignty. A new degree of like power comes along with. It's interesting because what I've learned to be true in my incarnation is that surrender is true power, right? Surrender, being able to be like, I don't fucking know. Like, I don't know anything. I don't know shit. Like, this small Marissa does not know shit. All right. And like, guide me. Like, I open to my highest timeline. I open to my greatest self. Just take over. Let me know what to do. How do I align with what I'm here for? My soul's blueprint. Right. And that begins, that's sometimes these in order to have that new life and that rebirth experience that I see that you guys are unearthing within, and most certainly it's going to be reflected without, rest assured, pile number 3. It's like, it's interesting too, because with the Great Severing, Mars energy, anger and conflict, and Sheila Nagig coming up, like I just saw 222. So this might be related to something, whatever happened in that portal, the Tuesday portal. But Sheila Nagig really talks about honoring death, right? And just like honoring aging and honoring just cycles of life, and honoring the inevitable. And there might be something in your reality to where, with this Mars energy coming through, where it's like what you are unearthing is understanding understanding that everything has a cycle, everything has a season. And so maybe you've been pushed to the limit, or maybe you're being pushed up to this point to where you're about to snap, where you're about to hit rock bottom, whether that's internally, whether that's externally, like whether it's like your relationship is hitting a rock bottom, whether your relationship with your boss or your organization, like something is about to occur. And I feel like you feel it internally. There's been enough buildup within that you're like, no more. Like, why am I fucking holding on to this thing that is clearly outdated, that's clearly not for me anymore, and that's clearly taking up space, getting in the way of this new rebirth, right? There's like a rebirth that is really right around the corner for you guys. And I feel like sometimes it's like, it's so true, 333 on the clock. It's so true that sometimes we need to be pushed up against a wall. Like if you think like of a scared dog, like, or a scared animal in general, sometimes they like are pushed up into that corner and then they finally just like strike. And so sometimes in order to see that we actually have a backbone, we need to be pushed into these corners to see that not only do I have teeth, but I will use them if and when I need to, right? Not to get so extreme, but with this Mars energy, this, and even planetarily, I believe, when I'm recording this, at least we have the Mars Venus Pluto alignment. And so there's a lot about death and transformation, which I'm not surprised. A lot of these readings have reflected that. Like every reading in their own ways, like there's are powerful awakenings that my people, this community that I'm building and that you guys are a part of, are going through. And it's like opening to new levels of leadership for a majority of the people drawn to my channel. And it's like, there's a new life holistically that is, that you are currently unearthing. Pile number 3. There's a new life in terms of how you carry yourself. There's a new life in terms of just like self-esteem. I'm hearing that you guys have never felt so solid in yourself, or you're about to enter a period where you're like, how the fuck am I who I am, going from who I used to be, right? The contrast is going to be so night and day. But again, with Sheila Nagig, it's honoring everything, honoring all of it. But there's definitely something here that's like honoring a cycle that has ended, and understanding that sometimes, that's part of the human experience. Sometimes it's going to end in a very fiery way, or a way where it seems like we now have an enemy or a new enemy. But, if that's the narrative you want to tell, then sure. And if that's the narrative that's happening, then honor that on this human incarnation. But it's like a larger part of you understands it's just part of it. It's just necessary. It's just part of the human journey, the human experience. So I feel like for my pile number 3 is what you're unearthing is this moment where you just feel like, after like, if you guys have dealt with grief, oh my gosh, there's this beautiful poem that I came across about how the Lakota Indians and the Sioux, correct me if I'm wrong, Sioux, the Sioux Indians, how they viewed people who are grieving. And they would say that people who are grieving are the closest to spirit, because when you meet death, it's like you see behind the eyes of someone that's grieving the loss or the death of a loved one. You see the great mystery staring out from behind their eyes. It's a very sobering experience if you've ever lost someone. It's extremely sobering. And they talk about like you're not protecting yourself. They've lost their level of protection. And so these tribes, these Indians, these Native Americans believe that you would seek counsel from the person that's grieving. They're the most raw. They're also the closest to spirit. And so don't ever, like, whether it's good, whether it's bad, don't ever fear the rock bottom moments, because those are sometimes our most freeing and liberating and most sobering moments. And that's when we really unearth a deep degree of power that there's no turning back from that point. So if you guys are there right now, if you guys are in this space right now, I am feeling kind of emotional. So if you're in that space now, or you feel like you've hit rock bottom, or you're like trying to avoid that rock bottom, like don't, just like surrender to whatever life is trying to show you, because like life has truly got your back, my friends. I promise, it really does. And, you know, if you've been on this path for some time, which a lot of the beings drawn to my channel are and have been, you really start to lean into all of it. And you're just like, what do you have to show me? Okay, next level of self, cracking open, right? Whatever it is. So whoever you're having conflict with, I'm sure the tarot is going to tell us a bit more, but whoever or whatever in your life, like on the other side is always like, you can always look forward to this rebirth experience where you're like, I've never felt so good. But again, that grief just like breaks away the veils of illusion and breaks it, like sobers you up to the quickness of it all. And again, you're not like, there's not this level of protection when you like have hit rock bottom. It's like, I have nothing left to protect, like in terms of a false ego or a false self. It's just, you're raw, you're open. And so there's a lot of power that comes from that with it. Again, you're raw and you're open with this. She is raw and open, dare I say. Okay. So let's get into your tarot. You have the Seven of Pentacles. So this to me, he kind of looks bored. He kind of looks like, you know, Seven talks about looking at things that you're just kind of gauging where you've been and just like looking at where you're at, like the progress you've made so far. So it might be something that you're letting go, or a reality or a version of self, or just like a relationship. It's going to be different for everyone, that it feels like I put so much into this. Like, am I really just going to let it go? Ready or not, right? Yeah, we have Five of Cups. So this might have to do with a relationship, or feeling like, you know, just focusing. You're really, what you're unearthing is the invitation to tell a different narrative. So are you going to cry over the 3 milk? And if you have to, cry over the spilled milk. Cry over the 3 cups. Like, honor your journey. I'm never saying bypass or anything. Honor the grief. Grief is very powerful. But again, understanding that there's something about it. There's always going to be hidden good that you can't always see in the moment from these things, these endings, right? And we have the Page of Swords. So yeah, this is, you know, the Page is very youthful. She's, the Page is very innocent. And this actually reminds me a lot of the Fool card. And so, like, new beginnings is what I get from this. And I even see whenever I see a book in this type of reading, especially, this is like leaning on your truth, leaning on your philosophies, leaning on those teachers that kind of zoom you out and remind you of what is possible and remind you of the nature of reality and how it operates. Because when we go through these grieving processes, sometimes too, what comes with that is like a loss of faith, or like a dark night of the soul leading up to that snapping process or whatever. But ultimately, this is gonna, your wisdom is going to deepen, right? And if you need support, go to those beings that just reinforce what you deeply know to be true during this time. But you are just literally like, this is going to be, you're going to feel so good on the other side of this. Like, there's a new life on the other side of this. And it's like, Spirit is just trying to clear out. It's like out with the old and in with the new. So pile number 3, I'm going to leave this reading here for now. Please like, comment, subscribe if you've been here before, and I hope to see you soon. What is up, pal number 4? Welcome to your reading for what it is that you are currently unearthing. So these pals have been wild. These have been insane. And I'm not surprised, because there's a lot of us going through significant activations right now and being called to step into more bold levels of leadership, and however bold shows up for you and whatever that means for you. So I have your spread. I was guided to do this one a lot differently because the message was a little bit convoluted. I started recording, and then as I got not too far into the reading, I'm like, okay, this is a lot different than what I initially thought it was going to be. So I'm going to show you guys your oracle. So you guys had 4 come up. You had healing, holing, and holy. You had time to go. You have whale and orchid elders. Share your song, frequency of sound. So already there's a lot here about like, you guys are very wise. I'm seeing the elders, the message of elders repeating itself. So there's a lot of deep ancient wisdom within you guys. And we have trust the timing, trust the wave you came in on. Timing is not running out. Time is not running out. And then your tarot cards, you have the 3 of Swords, 1:11 on the clock. You have the 9 of Pentacles, and then you have the Knight of Swords. So what it is you're unearthing, you guys are stepping out of a period where you have done a lot of healing, right? Where you have become whole within yourself from a certain type of catalyst that has happened. Now, at first I thought the time to go with the 3 of Swords was that this catalyst is just now happening, or that there is healing that is about to happen. And then as I was getting into it, I'm like, oh no, I like this doesn't mean like it's time to go, like it's time to leave, and then there's healing that's going to come. It's like you guys have already done the healing, and now it's time to move on, right? It's time to go like with your mission. It's time to understand how far you've come since this initial catalyst. This could be a relationship, this could be leaving an organization, this could be in some way like something that allowed you to grow really wise within yourself and really see where you were selling yourself short, where you were maybe not living in alignment, in the highest alignment with your highest integrity, where you were still kind of diluting. Sometimes I say diluting and it sounds like delusion, like diluting, like, yeah, but diluting your true frequency and your true soul's expression. Now, you guys are extremely incredibly wise beings. Like, I'm getting shaman energy. I'm getting like modern day shaman type of stuff here. And at the very least, you guys have spent lifetimes where you're very immersed in cultures that do have healing medicine women and medicine men, and they're very in tune with the plants and just nature and what nature has to teach us. And there's a lot of like elder wisdom here. We're on a time on the planet where the respect for our elders is not necessarily there. And there's like a longing for that type of like grandmother and grandfather type of wisdom. And you guys carry that. You guys have that no matter how old you are. And so it's like, it's time to go. There's people that need your expression. There's people that are waiting for all that you've unearthed through. This could just mean that you have been through a lot of adversity throughout your life in general, where you have, you just feel like 333 on the clock. You just feel like crucified. Right? That's we had 333 and like the Ascended Masters and, any being that, really steps on their path and starts to do their own thing and really owning who they are. They do go through this period of crucifixion. I really notice it. Crucifixion, persecution, whatever you want to call it. There's some beings that would even go as far to say that the story of the Bible and the Jesus is a symbol for what we all go through when we start to own our own frequency and when we have awakenings into the truth of who we all are as a collective, and then also of who we came here to be as an individual. And so this is what you guys have unearthed already, and now what you're unearthing is like, where do I go from here? And I feel like in some way with you guys, you feel like time is running out, because we do have the Knight of Swords. We have to trust the timing. Time is not running out. So there might be a haste behind you guys. Like, you have unearthed so much power within yourself that you guys might be working really hard. It's like, okay, come on, I need to get my bag. I need to make my name. I need to, get this show on the road. And so if at the very least you've unearthed so much wisdom and so much authenticity of your own expression, and of like, it doesn't sound like regurgitated bullshit, right? There's a difference between people who have just like heard a bunch of shit and they're just repeating that wisdom that has been born from the depths of someone else versus someone that you can really tell has tapped into their own wisdom, their own authenticity from their lifetimes and what, they've gathered and what they've learned within their field. Right? And so it's not just a conceptual thing, and you can tell the difference when you're speaking to those individuals, and you guys just got that it factor. You guys have that factor of where there is like deep, profound wisdom that can really help set people free. When I think of shaman, I think of soul retrieval. Like, true level of healing is not just like putting a band-aid on something, hoping it goes away, hoping it heals, right? It's like you're truly healing to the root cause of it, right? And so you guys have done that. You guys, whatever you have been through up to this point in time, I might be even dealing with like younger individuals, but that doesn't have to be the case. We're going to go through different cycles of like immense, almost like trauma and just like heartache, grief, and then we go through those rebirth experiences. But in general, it's like, I'm just getting this sense that there's a lot that you've learned and that there's a lot that you've gleaned from a certain catalyst in the recent past, or leading up to this moment in time that you finally feel like you were healed from, you were whole from it, right? And so now it's like, it's time to go. It's time to like take that wisdom and to share it. It's like, this tells a story. We start with healing. There's a lot of healing that's happened. Now it's like time to go, right? At first I thought it was like time to go, time to like move on from a situation, but this is like, no, it's like, it's time to go. We have these both people running after something. Like, you feel this haste. You're unearthing this haste because the world needs your voice. The world needs your expression. The world needs people with this level of wisdom and authenticity to come forward and to speak their truth and to embody these codes and to lead by example. And with it, there is a lot of independence that's coming through it. You will be taken care of materially. If that is even a fear, you will be taken care of. Along with that persecution wound, that crucifixion wound that we can have is like, if I'm cast out, it's a very deep survival thing that's programmed within us. If I'm cast out, if I'm canceled, who can I fucking turn to? How am I going to be safe? How am I going to feed my kids if you have kids? Or like, how am I just going to get my basic needs met? You will be taken care of. The universe responds to courage. That's Terence McKenna has said this. This is something that I've taken and just like butchered, I'm sure, every time I've tried to paraphrase it. But infinite intelligence responds to courage. Nature responds to courage, I'm sure, I think is what he said, actually. Nature will bend. You will call in the resources exactly when you need them. And there have been so many different stories and so many different examples and like testimonies of this when you are truly leaning not on your own wisdom, right? Leaning not on your own understanding, and you're tuning into something much greater than you. It's got your back, my friends. I promise you, it has got your back. So what you're unearthing, it's going to feel like a haste, right? And the Spirit's like, time is not running out. Trust the timing of everything. So, building an empire, is going to take step by step. Trust the timing, but also know that haste is there to support you in this moment. So ride the wave. If you feel like moving fast and it's not coming from a place of fear, like, oh, I gotta get it done, whatever, that's gonna iron itself out along the way. So don't worry. It's like, where am I coming from? Just like, do what you gotta do and know that you're not running out, and that healing period that you went through, no matter what, even if you are, your vehicle, your body vehicle is a bit older, it's like, trust that. Trust wherever you are in your journey, and trust that whatever healing you had to go through was exactly where you needed to be. You're always being set up for success, right? You're never being set up for failure, and any type of perceived failure that we meet on our path is only meant to empower us even more, and to free us even more, and to become more bold, right? And to not take our cues from the outside and be like, fuck it, I've seen worse, all right? Like, I've seen motherfucking worse things, right? So bring it on. And so that's the energy that you guys are now stepping into. You're like, I'm complete, and I'm tuned into something much greater than myself, right? I think it's Wonkin Tonka is what the Native American culture called it. So yeah, this is very beautiful. There's been a lot of like sobering moments I feel like you guys have met in terms of grief. I just told pal number 3 this, but there's certain Native American tribes that believe that the most wise beings at any point in time were those going through deep grieving processes, because your sense of illusion of this continuing on is ripped away from you, and you kind of understand that it's that delicate balance of like, do what you have to do, like this does not go on, but at the same time honor a natural unfolding. Don't create more anxiety that's needed. And if I do see that there's a lot of like kind of haste. So if like it's moving fast, then let it move fast, right? If things are moving fast, or things are going to move fast, because this is what you're unearthing, there's so much healing that's happened. This might be saying that things are going to start moving very quickly for you externally. You're going to start speaking up, or something's going to take off. Like the right person is going to find your video or whatever, your artwork, your creation, and things are going to start moving really quickly. And it's much more than just like the thing, and it's much more than just like whatever you're doing, and it's much more about the fact that you guys have very ancient wisdom available to you. You guys have very ancient and powerful, profound wisdom that this planet needs at this time, that this planet is asking for. And so it's going to draw that out of you, right? So it's like, ready or not, here we go, pal number 4. So this is beautiful. Please keep me posted with how this is showing up in your life. I would just love to see how this is manifesting for each one of you guys as individuals. Like this video, comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you soon. What's up, pal number 5? Here is your reading for what it is that you are currently unearthing. I'm sorry if I'm a little winded. I literally just walked from my bathroom to my room. So, okay, I've been taking a break from running for a little bit. So, we have 3 oracles today and 3 tarot cards. So, I haven't looked at any of these cards yet. We're going to do it all real time together. These have been profound and powerful because that's just a reflection of you guys. So, thank you so much for all of those that continue to tune into these readings, because I mean, it just like reignites my fire seeing how powerful you guys are and how purpose driven and just like destiny livers, BDE, okay? Big destiny energy from you guys. So we're going to start with this goddess oracle. So what is pal number 5 currently unearthing within themselves? Beliefs. Okay, I saw the owl, so I feel like there's a new level of wisdom coming through. Unearthing, time for a nap. What are you unearthing? Perspective. None of this matters. Zoom out. Common ground. Okay, so I feel like you guys, pile number 5, what you're unearthing within yourself is like choosing your battles. And this is most certainly your internal battles. So there might be some beliefs that you guys have in terms of like, you guys might be getting swept up in some bullshit, right? Swept up in some earthly bullshit. And that's totally fine. Like honor your honor your process, honor whatever it is that you have to go through, but there might be a battle of beliefs that's happening between you and other people. And this might even just be saying in general that you're just getting too swept up in what's going on in your life, in a certain area of your life, or just in general. Because with the time for the nap and then none of this matters, it's really just like disengaged type of energy. It's like, don't perpetuate false narratives, right? Understand, like, just remembering it's a play. It's illusory. Doesn't mean it's irrelevant. It just means like what you're unearthing is being able to recognize when you're getting caught up in shit that really does not matter, right? None of this matters. Recognizing it and knowing that it's okay to take a break, and it's okay to just be like, I don't have to be freedom fighting and saving the world every fucking day and like, standing for a cause or whatever, like standing for a cause and working for a cause, or just like making a difference and just like taking action, taking control of your life. We're stepping out of this era of that being very hyper masculine, right? And so what you're unearthing is being able to see when it's like time to disengage and really tune into that feminine and like the healing power of laughter, right? And just like the healing power of, if you're tired, if you're burnt out, honor it, honor your body. Like, don't push yourself. It's just like this hustle culture is so disgusting to me. Like, I've just been meeting it so much, and I was like a part of it for a little short time. But just hustle culture is just like, it's like, just like, why? It's, again, I feel like hustle culture can be this need to like prove our worthiness, right? And so what you're unearthing is you're unearthing a level of wisdom that says my productivity and my value is not linked to what I'm doing and what's happening outside and whether people understand me or whether they get me, right? It's my sense of value is not linked to anything that is in this world, because 50 years from now, no one's going to fucking know who I was, right? Maybe some of you guys, but like 500 years from now, who's Marissa, who's any of us, right? So I feel like this is really just coming back to like, it's like a breath of fresh air, right? And even disengaging from your own beliefs, or at least investigating where they're born from, and just like not getting lost in them being like the it or being the right? So you guys this is wisdom, right? This is true wisdom of understanding. As long as I'm in a human body, as long as I've taken a human incarnation, I'm going to have to stand for something, right? Like that Gandhi quote. Gandhi was quoted saying that, play your part. Fuck, I'm going to butcher this. He was quoted saying, he essentially said, do what you got to do, but, none of it matters. Can we just like make that a quote underneath the Gandhi quote? Maybe one of you guys will find it, but it essentially was like, do what you got to do, but remember, like, don't get lost in it, right? Remember, it's just a game. It's just a play. So we're going to get deeper in with the tarot. If I remember the real thing by the end of this, I'll definitely let you guys know, because it's a lot more profound when he says it, but this is my Marissa version. Okay, so what are your tarot cards? 4 of Cups. Yeah, something is just like, you're just like, I'm not here for this bullshit. Like, I'm so bored of this. Like, you might even be seeing how your own narratives about life are just like so tiring. And so you're like really getting ready to unearth a new level of existing when it's like, you're not taking yourself so seriously, right? That's boring, right? When you take yourself too seriously, like it's like wearing a very tight, itchy wool sweater, right? And I do this too. We all do this. We're all human. We all do this. We all think that our universe is the most important one. YO universe is the most important one. And just like when you're living from that narrative, it just is, it's not it, right? And so what you're unearthing is like, you're not taking yourself so seriously. You're not taking anyone else seriously, understanding that for the most part, people are just like bullshit running off. I'm so sorry for the harshness of that. Or just like the uncompassionate taste, the distasteful way I just said that. But there's many beings. And actually, it's funny I say that, because I'm starting to call in many beings like you guys. And my reality is filled with a lot of people that have the eye to see, and that are very humble in this sense of like, they know they're connected to something bigger. They're honoring their truth. They're honoring what the part they're here to play, but they're like not stepping on other people's realities and like bulldozing other people's realities just because it doesn't match their own, including you guys. And so I feel like what you're unearthing is a much more graceful way to exist, while still understanding that, if other people oppose me, it has nothing to do with me. I just posted this on my IG the other day, because this was catalyzed by something in my own life, that people will love you, people will hate you, and none of it will have anything to do with you. Right? This doesn't mean stay around abusers or toxic people, or just like do what you got to do, but understand that like most people are playing roles that is beyond even what their limited minds can conceive, including you. So just like, do what you got to do, but don't get lost in it, you know? Page of Cups coming through. It's interesting because I almost see this as an extension. Oh my God, it's so funny. It's like she's like so bored and apathetic about what's here. It's like being unable to see something new, see a new perspective. So this might be saying that too, what you're unearthing is there's something that you maybe have been trying to figure out or trying to wrap your mind around, or like just like there's something that is trying to come in. And when you take a nap, right, and when you stop trying to figure something out, when you zoom out and you're just like, all right, I'm just going to disengage for a bit, it's going to come. The answer is going to come, and you're going to see how it was right in front of your face the whole time, right? And just like, whatever, you know, I never mean for it to sound like I'm judging or like making fun, because I'm not. And if I do, it's because I make fun of myself all the time. Just like when I take myself way too fucking seriously, and just like this whole thing. Again, it's a delicate balance, right? And it's just very humorous, because the less we try to figure things out, the more things make sense, you know? So last but not least, we have the King of Pentacles. So yeah, you're unearthing a new level of maturity, right? You're generous. And the thing about kings and queens is like, they really have to oversee like people where they are trying to meet people and trying to make decisions, collective decisions for the good of everyone, while also understanding everyone's within their own paradigms, and everyone also has their own beliefs and their own perceptions of what's right and what's wrong. So, I mean, my pals are powerful in the sense that you guys are coming here to like, literally you're coming here to learn about how to, or not to learn, but to like, just remind yourself of how to be a leader. The people joining my channel, you guys are like insane change makers. And so you like, this is, what are you unearthing? You are unearthing the deep skill. This is a deep skill that a lot of what we're seeing, a lot of our politicians do not have. And so the leaders of New Earth are going to need this skill that you guys are quite literally real-time learning in your own individual YO university. This skill of how to govern everyone, to make the right decision for everyone, to take into account everyone's like beliefs and values, however opposing they are. And so everyone feels like they are seen. And that is a gift. That is a gift that I couldn't even tell you, right? That I'm still learning, and that you guys could probably actually teach me more about at some point. Because I feel like you're in the process of this, of learning how to do this, of learning how to take everyone's view into account, and to allow everyone to feel seen and honored and valued. And that's true prosperity that everyone is going to partake in when you're operating from those realms. So this is beautiful. Like, this is so beautiful. You guys are deepening your wisdom. You're deepening in maturity. You're deepening in graciousness, and as an authority figure that people rely on, because it's not centric on you. It's like, you really do have the best of intentions for everyone. And you, at the end of the day, it's like I feel like you're able to, and what you're going to be learning, what you're unearthing, is you are able to make such sound and wise decisions, because it's like, you're not creating friction of like, I got to figure this out. There's not a neediness. You're open. And so source and spirit, whatever you want to call it, the divine mind can actually communicate to you, because you're not blocking off from like, you know, being too engaged in it, too lost in it, right? So pile number 5, I'm going to leave this here for now. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Oh my God. Thank you for being here. Thank you for like giving me the honor and the blessing to read for you guys. Thank you for your service. Thank you for being here. Like this video, comment down below, subscribe if you've been here before, and I hope to see you soon.